his tenure in office as the 47th President of the United States. The event was happening live from the U.S. Capitol. It's the House of Congress, unlike other previous celebrations and events, because, as they've said, the winter and the levels of cold in the U.S. have been on an extreme high, and to protect, citizens who would have perhaps, gone to witness this particular live swearing in, they had to take it to the U.S. Capitol, a significant place as well. If you remember the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol back in 2021, so this is such a significant place, not just in terms of swearing in of a president, but also the historic stature of that particular building. So from Washington, D.C., back straight here to the capital city of Nairobi. Welcome. You're watching EBN Prime Edition tonight. Well, let's kick it off with what is happening or what is making headlines across this country this evening. 5 people dead at Isebania Migori Highway after a lorry rammed into 2 motorcycles. Clinical officers make good their threat and kick off countrywide strike as Council of Governors urges them to resume their duties. Donald Trump sworn into office for the 2nd term of presidency, expected to sign over 50 executive orders in his first day in office. All right, your feedback is highly welcomed across our streaming platforms tonight. You're in safe pair of hands. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. EBN Prime Edition kicks off right now. Now, the strike by the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers has officially kicked off countrywide. This after the lapse of 14 days notice midnight on Monday. The medics are protesting the exclusion of clinical officers from SHA empanelment and a breach of last year's return to work agreement. The officers accuse the government of perpetuating an illegality by locking out facilities registered under the Clinical Officers Council from social health authorization, pre-authorization, and empanelment. The union's chair, Peterson Washira, says a meeting called by the Health Cabinet Secretary earlier on Monday failed to yield any fruit, and the strike will remain in force until all their demands are met.
You remember that on Tuesday, the 14th, last week, a meeting was held at Council of Governors that brought together the Ministry of Health, the Social Health Authority, the Council of Governors, and the Clinical Officers Council. There was a resolution from that meeting signed by the Council of Governors leadership, the Ministry of Health, and that was meant to direct the Social Health Authority to end what can only be said to be illegal and illogical exclusion of a cadre that takes care of more than 90% of our patients in the country. Since then, there is no clinical officer up to today, as we are talking, from Tuesday, who is able to pre-authorize. There is also no facility registered by the Clinical Officers Council that has been empaneled. And so then our conclusion as a union is that the cartels are still at play and people have decided not to even honor such a high level resolution.
It is the making of the government because the issues that we are highlighting are historical in nature. There's no one who can understand, for instance, why should we negotiate a CBA for close to 7 years, and yet a CBA has a life cycle of just 4 years. So meaning, we are completing 2 cycles without a CBA.
Tumekuwa na mama yetu, ametulea, ametunyonyesha, mpaka mahali ambapo tumefika. Na mama yetu ni Clinical Officers Council. Na hii imepewa ruhusa ya kuweza kuregister institutions. Lakini ile sababu ambayo hizi institutions haziwi empaneled ndilo jambo ambalo limetufikisha hapa leo. Kwa hivyo sisi tunaomba serikali ama Ministry of Health na the Social Health Authority iruhusu ama empanel zile hospitali zote ambazo zimekuwa registered na Clinical Officers Council, kwa sababu hii ndio body ambayo inaturepresent.
Medical services in various public hospitals in Mombasa have been hampered as the Union of Clinical Officers Industrial Action began across the country. Some patients have reported missing various services, while some have been advised to seek services in private hospitals because of the strike.
Officers wote tuko mgomo, na tungeomba wale wagonjwa ambao wamekuja kupata matibabu kwa facilities za serikali waende kwa other facilities kupata hayo matibabu, sababu si makosa yetu si kupenda kwetu kugoma, ila ni inatubidi pia situgome ili kutafuta haki yetu.
Clinical officers hao ndio wana offer 90% of the UHC, na kama tunataka kuachieve hiyo agenda ya UHC, tuko na pia hawa clinical officers wameandikwa under UHC, na hakuna ati kuna zile kazi zenye wao hawawezi kufanya kando na clinical officers wenye wanafanya permanent and pensionable.
Nimekuja tangu saa 12, mamangu aliambiwa aje apigwe picha ya echo, na mpaka sasa hatujapata huduma, na mama hana nguvu hata za kuketi. Yeye ni aketi dakika 2 alafu alale, muda mwingi ni kulala. Sasa tangu saa hiyo tuambiwa daktari ameenda ana mwanajino ameenda kutolewa jino, hatujapata matibabu yoyote, hatujapata usaidizi wowote.
Sasa hivi kesho nimepewa appointment nikuje nione daktari, na nimeambiwa daktari wamegoma. So sasa daktari wakigoma, kama ni hiyo kesho na ndio nimeambiwa nikuje nione daktari. Sasa unaona mtoto wangu anazidi kuumia na haendi shule. Afaa afanywe aende theater atolewe, kuna ufimbe kwa mkono.
Kama ni hao wajiri wao washughulikie vizuri, wapate kuwashughulikia ili wananchi wapate huduma yao. Wananchi wajali afya yao. Mtu ni afya. Ukiwa una afya huwezi fanya chochote.
Serikali inafaa iangalie hawa wahudumu na madaktari wao wanalipwa kwa wakati. Haina maana akiwa tutalipa legislators pesa nyingi wa kukaa tu kule na watu wanaofanya kazi hapa hawapati malipo.
Ningependa hawa waweze kugoma. Ni ile tu suluhisho ipatikane ili hawa waendelee na kazi, maana wagonjwa wako wengi na kila mgonjwa anahitaji kutibiwa.
Ukikuja hapa kwa City General unaambiwa mpaka mtoto alazwe ndio wachukue SHA. So kila kukuja kutibiwa ni cash.
Mimi nimetoka kulipa 5,500 ya picha. Sasa kwanza wameniambia kwa SHA haifanyi outpatient.
Now, the Council of Governors has urged clinical officers to call off the strike that started on January 20th midnight, noting that some of the key issues that had driven them to down their tools have been sorted out. Speaking to the media at a press conference, at a meeting with Principal Secretary for Medical Services Harry Kimutai and officials from the Social Health Authority, governors who mediated the impasse that has led the clinical officers to a strike say that they had made great strides in addressing issues that had been brought forth. Thus, they should forthwith call off the strike. Among the key issues raised were empanelment of health facilities run by clinical officers into SHA under the Clinical Officers Council, as opposed to being forced to go through the Doctors Board, the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council.
In view of the aforementioned resolutions, we call upon the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers to call off the ongoing strike to ensure service delivery in county facilities and in all facilities do not grind to a halt. We had a meeting last week where we discussed the major issues. We have set a technical committee between the COG and the clinical officers, the council, and we gave them 21 days to actually go over, the issues and to have a draft CBA that then will be cascaded to the counties, so that we can adopt them as governors and as different employers across the country. We had agreed on the Social Health Authority, but there was a little miscommunication. Then they thought that we've moved back on our word, and that's why today, even this statement, I am signing in front of you, and the PS is going to sign as well in front of you, so that you can show our clinical officers that we care and that we mean our word.
Last week, actually, we met on 14th. We never had any media brief, but we had a very comprehensive meeting with the KUKO. And as far as we were concerned, there was not going to be any strike until they misunderstood what was communicated by the SHA CEO. which they never got and never asked questions on what exactly does it mean, does it negate what we discussed that day. So I would say this trigger for the strike today was simply because of wrong perception or misunderstanding over communication.
We want to confirm that indeed these resolutions will be implemented with immediate effect, and starting this afternoon we are going to call on the Council of Clinical Officers to report to the Ministry of Headquarters through their chief officer so that we can start engaging with the DHA.
Now, President William Ruto on Monday launched the first ever sugarcane farmers bonus at the Mumias Sugar Company. Speaking to residents, the head of state said the bonus, the first ever to be paid to sugarcane farmers, demonstrates the successful implementation of reforms being made by his administration to revive the once thriving sugar sector. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe also commended the head of state for introducing the bonuses, saying it is a life changer for residents.
Sugar bill, you have already finished with. Regulations are in our offices. And I know, even speaking before I arrive at the office, that our people are already working on it. And in the next 1 month, we should be able to deliver the regulations to Parliament so that my brother, the Honorable Speaker, can also pick it up and deal with it in Parliament. The amount of sugar we are going to import now is a lot less than we were going to because of what the fertilizer input has done to these farmers. This year, we are going to produce some 800,000 metric tons. Our requirement is about 1.1 million metric tons for the country. So we are going to reduce and save foreign exchange.
Mpango yetu ni kwamba ile mambo tulikuwa tunaagiza sukari, tunasumbuka na makatel. We want by 2027 Kenya inakuwa a sugar exporting country, and it is possible if we work together. Badala ya kupoteza pesa zetu za kigeni, tunataka miwa itusaidie kuongeza pesa ambazo zinakuja Kenya kwa madola, kwa sababu tunauza sukari yetu nje ya Kenya. And Kenyan farmers are very hard working. I am confident that with the right leadership, with the correct support, we are going to have a sugar surplus and we are going to export sugar from the Republic of Kenya. Vile vile, niliwaeleza ya kwamba tutakuwa na sheria mpya. Nataka nimshukuru Mheshimiwa Wangwe na wabunge wa sehemu hii na wabunge wa Kenya. Tulisimama na wao, sasa tuko na sheria mpya. Ile mimi nauliza waziri, na leader of majority yuko hapa, na speaker wa bunge yuko hapa, kwamba hiyo sheria tulipitisha inahitaji regulation.
Kakamega County Governor Fernandez Baraza has said the county, Kakamega that is leading in the Social Health Authority registration. The county governor says health officials have led efforts to encourage residents to register for the new health program. The transition plan began in October 2024 after the defunct NHIF. President William Ruto has pledged to ensure the universal health coverage is working to benefit the non-salaried Kenyans.
Mambo ya SHA hapa Kakamega, Mheshimiwa Rais, I want to assure you kwamba kwa mkoa wa Magharibi, Kakamega is leading in SHA registration. Nationally tuko nambari 5, na mimi nilikuhakikishia kwamba by the end of February Kakamega will be number 1 in SHA registration, kwa sababu pia tunahusisha makanisa na misikiti katika shughuli ya kujisajili kwa Taifa Care. Na mambo ya moshi, tunasema tunataka moshi bora na sio bora moshi. Tuko na moshi bora, mabora moshi. Sasa tuko na moshi bora, ndiposa leo tuko na bonus hapa, na tunakushukuru sana Mheshimiwa Rais.
Nasema heri sisi ambao tulipe zaidi, ndio tuwachane na harambee. Wewe mwananchi, wewe pia ujumuishwe katika mambo ya matibabu. Wewe mwananchi ambaye huna kazi na huna uwezo, kazi yako ni moja, kujisajili. Kama uko na uwezo, utalipa kulingana na uwezo yako. Kama huna uwezo, serikali ya Kenya itakulipia. Wacha nirudie, ndio msikie zaidi, ndio msikie vizuri. Kwa sababu saa zingine unamwambia mwananchi, mbona hujajisajili? Ati anasema sina pesa. Nani alikuuliza ya kwamba kujisajili inahitaji pesa? Sawa sawa? Kujisajili ni bure. Ile itafanywa baada ya wewe kujisajili ni wewe uchunguzwe. Ule mtu wako na uwezo, utaambiwa uwezo yako ni ya shilingi 1,000. Lipa 1,000. Uwezo yako ni ya shilingi 500. Lipa 500. Uwezo yako ni ya shilingi 200. Lipa 200. Wewe una uwezo, serikali ikulipie. Mambo tosha.
Now, President William Ruto says, as a leader, he does not need to be applauded for the work he's doing because his goal is to ensure that Kenya transforms to a better nation. Ruto's remarks came following the address by Mumias East Member of Parliament Peter Salasia, who seemingly threw jabs at the head of state. Salasia asked President William Ruto to address the issues of the high cost of living, noting that it is what is angering Kenyans. Salasia accused the president of relying on advisors who, according to him, are hiding the truth about the real situation on the ground. He criticized the large deductions made in salaried Kenyans and encouraged the government to immediately intervene.
Nataka Bwana Rais unichukue mimi nikuwe personal advisor wako, unilipe. Kwa sababu Bwana Rais, hao watu wako wakuambiangi ukweli. Wanakuambia SHA inafanya kazi na haifanyi kazi. Wanakuambia new model inafanya kazi na haifanyi kazi. Bwana Rais, mimi nataka nikuambia kwamba wewe ni mtu ambaye uko na moyo wa kusaidia nchi ya Kenya. Lakini kuna makatels matapeli wako katika serikali yako ambao hawataki ujue ukweli wa maneno. Mimi najua you are a God sent leader who was sent to come and save this nation. But kuna watu ambao wako hapa katikati wanataka kukutumia wewe vibaya ili ya kwamba nchi yetu isonge mbele. Mimi nataka wakati unaingia katika ile kura ambayo nataka kura za civil servant, Bwana Rais, nataka usilete karibu. Kwa sababu hao wakora wamekudanganya ukafinya payslip ya Mkenya. And that's why you see Kenyans are bitter with you, Mheshimiwa Rais. Mimi nataka Rais, leo, siku ya leo, kuna hapa, asante sana, tuko hapa na wakulima wako hapa, tuko hapa na walimu. Mwalimu anaishi hapa Ushago, mwalimu anakatwa pesa ya affordable housing. Huyo mwalimu anaona kwamba he will never have a house. Sasa mimi nauliza Rais, ukikatwa huyu mtu kama huyu anakuwa na hasira, because we are in a capitalism country ambayo sio socialism.
Hii Kenya haiwezi kubadilishwa kiholela. Haiwezi kubadilishwa kwa kupigiwa makofi. Kuna wengine hapa wananiambia ati niendelee kupigiwa makofi. Mimi sihitaji makofi. Sijui kama tunaelewana. Hao watu wengine ni wageni. Wamefika juzi kwa hii siasa. Si mimi nimekuwa around hapa. Kama wewe ni mtu umefika hapa 2-3 years ago, endelea kutafuta makofi. Mimi sitafuti makofi. Kwa ile manifesto ya Kenya Kwanza tulikuwa na program ya housing. Sawa? Kwa ile manifesto ya Azimio tulikuwa na program ya housing. Si ndio? Sasa nawasikia mtu mmoja hapa ananiambia wachana na mambo ya housing. Na yeye mwenyewe alichaguliwa kwa Azimio. Na Azimio iko na housing. Sasa wewe
Trade Cabinet Secretary Lee Kinyanjui has pledged to create job opportunities for the youth. Kinyanjui on Monday said that if industries are able to grow, then youths are able to get jobs and create wealth. He was speaking when he took over office from his predecessor, Salim Mvurya. The handover ceremony took place at the NSSF building and was attended by senior officials from the ministry. Kinyanjui said he will work closely with the outgoing CS Mvurya and other officials in the ministry to ensure he achieves government objectives.
The ministry is largely a facilitative sort of ministry because there will be issues to do with cost of energy. They are not domiciled here, but they affect the industry. There are issues to do with immigration because you have people who want to come and invest here. They are not domiciled here, but they affect investment. So our approach is not to imagine that we can solve everything here, but that we can create an avenue upon which all these other actors in government can be able to focus and ensure that on the mandate of investment, we are able to deliver. On the mandate of trade, we are able to deliver, and also industry. And therefore, mine is to just say, I haven't been here for long, but just to assure you of my commitment, and I'm a team player. And again, also working with the media, we shall ensure that the programs that we plan to start are also transmitted to the public.
We will continue to support each other and to work together because His Excellency the President has committed to transform this country, and therefore through our various ministries we work to achieve the overall national objectives that have been set out, and therefore together in cabinet and other spaces we will continue to work together to leverage on that opportunity to serve Kenyans, to make sure that we use the opportunity to transform our country. Of course, in sports and youth affairs, we have also a big menu where we want to support youth to realize their potential in livelihoods, and therefore we will also depend on your ministry and most of the colleagues here to see how we inspire youth programs. I think we want to be very big in incubation, and Kirdi will be playing a very critical role, our cooperation in your ministry to make sure that we have mentorship programs.
Various leaders have expressed their dissent over plans by members of parliament who are pushing for the implementation of a salary increment frozen at the height of Gen Z demonstrations. The leaders have called on the Salaries and Remunerations Commission to reject the proposed amendments, arguing salary hikes should not be proposed for legislators at the height of economic pressure. The leaders have urged them to first honor agreements with nurses, lecturers, and teachers.
Everybody deserves a salary increment in Kenya. Life has become so difficult, life has become so expensive. So if it was a salary increment, let it be considered across all sectors of our economy. But considering only National Assembly or only Parliament for increment, that would be so unfair to the rest of the population. Teachers are going on strike, doctors are going on strike, nurses are going on strike, lecturers are going on strike. All of them are demanding a higher pay, and the government cannot afford to pay them. How comes it cannot afford to pay them, and the same members of parliament who do budget for the country will be able to increase their salaries? So my take would be, if they need to have a change of, an increment of salary, let us first improve our economy so that our economy is capable of paying them without causing any stress to any other sector of your economy.
You are adding money to an MP who is already earning 1 million Kenya shillings. What for? Is a meager sum of money. It do not even reflect anywhere. It doesn't even change his life, even for a minute. But it provokes emotions from the common man. It is like adding salt onto a wound. Kenyans are already suffering. And one of the issues they want addressed is the high cost of living. To an MP, 15,000 Kenya shillings, because I've calculated and I see 2% would just be about maybe 10,000, 15,000. The new chairman and SRC, they should not behave as if they're operating in a vacuum. They should first of all listen to the sentiments of the common man. What does the common man want? They already know that members of parliament are being paid.
A prison warden, Jackson Kuria Kiahara, has denied charges of publishing false information in violation of the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act. The officer, popularly known as Kop Shakur, was formally charged on Monday after being held in custody while investigations continued. According to the prosecution, the controversial prison officer allegedly posted a statement on his X account, formerly Twitter, that could incite public panic. Presiding Magistrate Gilbert Shikwe ordered that Shakur be released on a bond term of 100,000 shillings or cash bail of 50,000 shillings, along with 2 contact persons. The case is scheduled for mention on February 17, 2025.
And that every turn has cooperated with the police and is willing and ready to cooperate even further if called upon by this court.
We urge the court to consider the serious nature of the charges. Your Honor, and also to decide the bail and bond guidelines. We are opposed to the accused person being released on a free bond, Your Honor, due to the serious nature of the offense. And the court can be guided by asking for a probation officer's report to confirm his social circumstances.
Five people died on the spot following an accident that involved a lorry and two motorcycles at Nyametembe Bridge in Migori County along the Migori-Sebania Highway on Sunday night. Eyewitnesses claim that the driver of the lorry that was moving at a very high speed lost control and hit two riders who had pillion passengers, killing them on the spot. Police say the lorry was ferrying maize from Isebania towards Migori General direction. Among the people who perished in the accident are two teachers.
6 people is not a joke, si kitu kidogo. Hiyo ni watu wengi sana. Na wote wakiwemo walimu wawili na wenye tulikuwa tunategemea. Please, the government should chip in kwa mambo ya matanga because hao ndio wako na uzembe sababu ya hii barabara.
Ni kwa naomba tafadhali sana hata kama ni kuweka flyover watuwekee. Ni pigo kubwa kwa jamii, tunaumia sana. Sijui mapengo yao wataziba nani jamani. Serikali mtuwekee mabamsi hapa.
Poteza madamu wetu juu ya hii barabara. Tungependa serikali tuwekee hapa pamsi juu ya kuzuia watoto wetu wanaumia hapa, watu wetu wanaumia hapa, watu wetu wanapata hajari hapa juu ya pamsi yenye haiko hapa.
All right, Donald Trump has this evening been sworn into office, back to office actually, as the 47th President of the United States, alongside the Vice President J.D. Vance. Former presidents, including Joe Biden and Barack Obama, attended the event held at the U.S. Capitol, and the event was moved indoors for the first time in decades due to the bitter cold. Also present were cabinet nominees and tech billionaires. Now, hours before U.S. President Donald Trump assumed office, African literature icon David Mailu led a team of Kenyans in conducting a mock swearing ceremony of the leader of the world's most powerful country, 14,000 kilometers away. Mailu's ceremony followed the unveiling of a giant Trump statue at his Makueni home. The 15-feet steel and concrete statue, which doubles as a pit latrine, is one of Mailu's weapons against racism by the white leaders.
When I look at it, I like it in the sense that, it reminds me, this is a man who is being sworn in today. So we are also, in our own way, we are also introducing or swearing him into the world in which he also abused. President Trump is a man of many words, and it's very emotional. He could say anything. So, but I'm ready for anything he says. It's okay. He has the right to say what he thinks it should be said, even if he reminds me broadly that I'm still a man from a shithole nation. I will celebrate. I'll say, okay, fine, come again, bring it on.
I'd call it art interesting, right? And of course, the swearing in has just happened this evening, East African time actually, 8 p.m. East African time. And Donald Trump is officially now the president of the United States of America. So interesting 4 years ahead in terms of policies, the economy, which was a key factor in the U.S. elections, and always race, also a huge factor in the U.S. So we'll be keen to see how he's able to perform within those 4 years and the ripple effect of his administration to other countries, and especially within the African continent as well. So we'll be keeping tabs with that. Now, grief has engulfed the village of Bushibo, Butsotso sub-ward, Lurambi constituency in Kakamega County after 2.5-year-old twins burnt to death in their house. According to the brother Eugene Mini, he says he left the twins, Fidel Munyanya and the brother Idel Okola, before his father Geoffrey Mini went to church. When he went to draw water, he left them playing. While returning home, he found the house already engulfed in flames. Eugene says he began looking for the children when he found them already burnt inside the house. The cause of the fire is still unknown because the house is not connected to electricity and a gas cylinder inside the house was not recharged.
Nilikuwa nimechua watoto na babangu alikuwa ameenda kanisa. So nikatoka kidogo kuacha watoto kucheza nje kwenda mtoni. Kurudi nikapata nikaa kwa barabara kuelekea mtoni ndio na moshi. Kurudi nikapata nyumba inachomeka na rooms zote zimeshika moto. Juhudi za kutafuta watoto nikakosa, kuingia kwa nyumba na hiyo moto nikalemewa. Nikatoka nje ndio nikasaidiwa na wenzangu. Watoto niliacha nyuma jikoni, walikuwa wanacheza. Kwa nyumba hakuna stima, kama ni gas zote zilikuwa empty. So sijui nini happen hapo tena. Moto kumeshika rooms zote 3. Kama ni gas zote zilikuwa empty. Hakuwa na mtungi ilikuwa na gas hapo. Watu ni mapacha, mmoja ni mvulana mwingine msichana. Wote wako umri mmoja, miaka 2.5.
Vile nilifika nyumbani nikasikia harufu ya moto ikinuka. Nikauliza mzee kitu gani inaendelea. Mzee akaniambia nasikia watoto wakisema huko juu kuna nyumba inaungua huko. Kwa hiyo harakati nikakuja nikakutana na huyo kijana wake, nikamuuliza shida iko wapi. Akaniambia hata ajui watoto wako wapi na ajui shida ni gani ama issue ilikuwa ni gani. Vile nilimuuliza, kwa hiyo harakati alikuwa amechanganyikiwa. Ndio tulikuwa hapo na watu wengi. Sasa tukajitolea watu kama 4. Tukaanza kuchukua maji kwa nyumba tukileta nje. Tukachimba nyumba, tukaweza kutoboa kwa dirisha mahali wanalala. Tukaweza kuwatoa, wakawaweka nje, walikuwa watoto 2.
Baba ya hao watoto tulikuwa na yeye kanisani. Tukatoka huko, tuligawana. Yeye akaenda kwa jumuiya yake na sisi tukateremka kwa jumuiya yetu. Ni chini kiasi kidogo. Sasa vile tulikuwa tumekaa hapo, mtu akapikia memba moja simu. Hata unasikia watoto wameungua. Tulishituka, hata tumelia, tumekimbia, hata la kusema hatuna. Hapa hii boma tulikuwa na shosho, yani wa huyu kijana mwenye watoto ndiye alikuwa anaishi hapa, lakini hapa kwake ni mwanga. Sasa alikuwa ameenda.
Our condolences to the family of the 2 children in Kakamega County, and we hope that you'll get the help and the answers you seek on what exactly caused that particular fire. So on that sad note, we wrap up our broadcast tonight. Thank you very much for keeping us company. And as we wrap it up, perhaps I'll just leave you with